We acknowledge with gratitude that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Kʷikୱəḷ First Nation, who have lived here for thousands of years and continue to care for these lands and waters. We also recognize the shared territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Tsleil-Waututh, Cathy, and Musqueam nations. We honor their enduring presence and ongoing contributions to this region.
Welcome to Faces Tri-Cities interview series. I'm Geneviève Kyle-Lefebvre.
And I'm Cathy. Faces Tri-Cities is a co-authored book featuring 50 amazing local women.
And today we are sitting with Vivien Symington. Welcome, Vivien.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And we also have some of the co-authors in the audience. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so lucky, right?
I know we are.
So, Vivien, let's do it. What inspired you to get involved in this local initiative that is Faces Tri-Cities book?
Well, I think it started by meeting you when you interviewed me, and I thought that was such a good idea. And when you invited me to join, I thought, yes, I'd like to support you, and because you do so much to support everyone else.
Thank you. And I have to say also, I love that I sent her a message. You didn't ask a lot of questions. You just said yes, and then you asked your questions.
Oh.
Is that what you normally do? Because I need $50.
What do you want it for?
I just liked it. I just loved it. She was a yes. And I don't know if it's part of your character, but I thought it was a beautiful way of starting this journey with you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
What do you think the impact is of sharing your story in the Tri-Cities community? Because you do a lot in the Tri-Cities. Do you want to maybe just share a little bit about what you do and what different boards you chair and sit on, etc.? And then we can go to the question.
Okay. Well, I own Club Aviva, which is almost 40 years old now. We'll turn 40 in.
So looks pretty good for 40, eh?
20.
Amazing.
Ooh, that deserves
another one.
And I have a foundation, the Symington Symbiotic Foundation, which supports children with autism and other disabilities. And we can talk about that later. And then I have an endowment fund with the Coquitlam Foundation, which supports children at risk, children with disabilities, and athletes in the pursuit of excellence. And I'm the vice chair for the Tri-City Chamber.
Yeah.
And I've sat on tons of boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know a little bit about community.
Yeah.
Vivien is definitely a leader in the community.
Absolutely.
So with everything you've been doing, what do you think the impact sharing your story have on the Tri-Cities?
Well, one of the things that I do for the chamber is I chair the Women in Business Committee. And I really think that women need to connect with each other, support one another, and help each other thrive.
What do they say? There's a place in hell for women that doesn't support each other. I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's our hell. How does being a part of the co-authored book help make a difference?
Well, I think it's getting the word out, what women are capable of and how women contribute to our community. And one of my mantras is that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And I think that's what community is. It's a village. And when it's working properly, everybody can learn to thrive.
Yeah, it's true.
So, Vivien, I'd like to touch on what does the Symington Foundation does. I know you're helping children, but can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So the foundation, I'm not sure what you know about children and support for children with disabilities. If therapies are very expensive, I created a program for children with autism in 2002, which is now evidence-based. We're just about to publish another paper, which is really robust and has great results. And I believe that families need evidence-based therapies that have accountability built in. That's my father speaking there. But anyway, so what my foundation does, it supports sort of gap funding. So when someone runs out of funds and they're waiting for their next cycle of funds, and we can kind of help them. and it supports kids that don't get any funding. I don't know if you know that ADHD and FASD get no funding. So I fund kids in the Coquitlam band, and I fund kids with ADHD, and we just do what we can to try and support kids.
Well, the province only gives, I think it's $6,000 or $7,000 to families with children over 6 years old for autism funding, and under that, I believe it was 12 or 16,000. So they're using a lot of that at the pre-6 years, and then, but when kids really need the funding, like to sort of go and be active in their day-to-day life, there is no funding left, and parents are really stretching out that dollar. So what you're saying is you help supplement some of that money as part of your foundation. That okay, got it. Yeah, amazing work. Yeah. Fantastic. Can I just ask, like, is why autism, and like how close is that to your heart, if you don't mind me asking that?
In 2002, a mom came into the gym and asked to speak to me and told me that she'd been told that I could help her child. And she said, my child has autism. I'd never heard the word before. I had no idea what I was getting into. So I said, well, I better take this child on myself personally. And then that just opened the door. And then, I mean, pretty soon I had 50 kids. And then I had to develop a training program because I'm trying to run a business. And I was at first fitting in the kids in between other things. So then I get a lot of interns from Simon Fraser from the kinesiology department, and then we train them. And that's really, so most of my staff are kinesiologists.
Amazing. So what change would you like most to see in here on the in the Tri-Cities?
Well, I'd like to see more support for children.
Yes.
And better access to activities. Because I believe that what we do, for example, is pre-hab, and it keeps kids off the streets. We have a zero drug policy, so it's providing them, first of all, with no access from that, and they're not on the streets, so they're less likely to get involved in drugs. Also, we use a growth mindset at the gym, which, if you're not sure what that is, it's values effort over skill. So all kids of all abilities can achieve their goals through effort. So we celebrate the effort that the child's putting in rather than what skill level they are.
I love when she says pre-hab instead of rehab.
That's right. I
right?
like that too.
Let's think ahead.
Yeah, I caught that for sure. Yeah, we're going to jump right into your quote and what you had to say in our book, Vivien. Go ahead, Geneviève. Why don't you read it?
Why not? Me and my French accent, right? Follow your passion and dream big. And of course, it's from you, Vivien Symington.
Yeah. Well, I always tell everyone they should follow their passion. And you never know where passion will leave you. And I think I have a bit of an innovative brain. So when, if you told me when I was 20 where I'd be now, and that I'd have all these, such a wide facet of programming and children of all abilities. We have kids going to world championships now and traveling all over the place. So, and we all work together in the same inclusive environment, which is, most people can't even grasp that. But it works because they're all being supported in their effort. And for example, when we had one of our kiddos had cerebral palsy and couldn't walk when she came, and it took her probably 3 or 4 years to take her first independent steps. The whole gym stopped, including competitive coaches, athletes, everyone. People were crying, and they were valuing her effort. It took her a lot of fear she had to overcome, a lot of challenges, patience. She would be discouraged, and then she'd feel, like, oh, I did it. So she got the whole range of emotion, and everybody knew that. So it was really amazing to see the celebration.
You're a family. Like, I feel a sense of community, a sense of even like a sense of family, even more than community. That's amazing. And imagine the parents, right?
Mom was in videotaping her.
That's amazing.
It was
Yeah,
great.
you could hear a pin drop, I'm sure,
Yeah.
when she took that first independent step.
Yeah.
What message do you hope young women in the Tri-Cities take from your story?
Well, I think that you start and then you just allow yourself to continue to grow. I always look, I listen to my families, and if someone gives me a suggestion like that mom in 2002,
Yeah.
I jump on it and I try to say, well, how can I help you? Let me see what I can do.
So what being part of a diverse and growing community like Tri-Cities means to you?
Well, I think I'm a big believer in inclusion, and my dad chaired a committee for the World Health Organization. He was a specialist in rehabilitation-medicine, and what he taught me through that was give somebody a hand. Everybody needs a hand up, not a handout. And secondly, every person in our society has the right to participate. So I believe that too.
You had a great dad.
Yeah, I did. Way ahead of his time.
That's
Way
amazing.
ahead, way ahead. Have you had any local challenges personally, and how have you tried to solve them?
Well, I do have a big local challenge that I'm trying to solve right now, which is I've asked, I had a P3 proposal. I don't know if you know what that is.
Explain, please.
P3 proposal is an unsolicited proposal that goes before council. And it was approved. I'm from what I understand, one of the only P3s that's been approved, but they kind of threw it back to me. We're looking for them. There's many municipalities in the Lower Mainland. They all have gymnastics facilities on city property to help with, keep the costs down for families and everything. And so they passed my proposal, but then turned it back to me and said, will you find the land and then come back to us?
Oh, that's a big piece,
so that's
right?
a big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
find the land. And was that in Coquitlam?
Yeah.
You want us to talk to Richard Stewart for you?
Yeah.
We know him.
I have my phone right here.
He's on our
Richard,
speed
We have
dial.
huge
Go
waiting
ahead.
lists for our
Yeah,
programs.
oh, I bet. Wow.
So we need a bigger facility.
I'm curious, should we ask the ladies for
Yeah,
questions?
absolutely. Ladies.
Vivien's talking about so many different things, so Rowena has a question for you. Go ahead, Rowena.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking, wow, when you first started your company 40 years ago, where did you see it heading, and how is that different to where it is now today?
Good question. Well,
Yes.
when I was a kid, there were no facilities. I mean, I went to the rehab gym with my dad, and did gymnastics there. And then I was doing my master's at Dalhousie, and when I got there, they heard that I was a gymnast, so they said, we have all these kids for you to train. And so then I did get really involved in competitive sport, gymnastics, and I was able to get kids at the national level. But and then I realized it was the beginning of facilities for gymnastics, and I thought, well, we need a facility because we have all these kids. So we were able to get one, and then, of course, I moved to Vancouver. So I worked for a club here that had, I didn't get along with the person I was coaching with because he was putting the kids kind of physically at risk, not in, nothing sexual or anything, but just there was a lot of injuries that weren't necessary. And I complained. It was a parent-run organization, so I complained to the parents, and the parents said, but he's getting results, so if you can't handle it, you can go. And then other parents, I had started a preschool program, which is really, really important for kids' development in motor development, and had a lot of kids, maybe 100, 200 in that program, which, was a lot of revenue for them. And then these parents approached me and said, please start your own gym.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I started.
Sometime when the wave came, it takes you with it,
And I was
and
never
here it
going
is.
to be involved in a parent-run organization. Again,
Oh gosh, it's
because
such a headache.
No, and I really believe that kids need to be, their self-esteem needs to be developed and supported and not squashed. So For me, that was a
Yep.
big breaking point for me.
Kathy, if you don't mind, I'm just going to show the page here with Vivien, and you're here getting an award.
Yes, for inclusion.
Oh,
From
amazing.
Gymnastics, British Columbia.
Great. Fantastic. So, Vivien, thank you so much for joining us today. Keep doing what you do. Keep shining. I know you're a big person in the Tri-Cities. You're bringing the community together, and you're doing so much. Thank you for all your time, all the time you've been giving to our
All of
community.
your volunteer hours. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're watching Cathy and Geneviève here with Tri-Cities Community TV. We just listened to Vivien, who believes in a hand up, not a hand out. If you'd like to watch our series, follow us on YouTube. All of these wonderful interviews will be there. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much.